Originating from the personal memories of direct Shuji Terraomen, Pastoral Rite of the Day is an autobiographical history of Shuji Terraomen with metaphors about social memories and eerie Oriental aesthetics. The most important reason why the movie Pasture to Die in the Country is defined as a cult movie is that it has conditions required for cult movie, niche and bluffing, not ethical, with strong personal feel and not market-oriented. I was born under the old soil. There are always changing things in the village. My mother and I depend on each other. I fell in love with the wife next door as a teenager. And the arrival of the acrobatic troupe gave me the desire to get out of the ravine. And finally, I ran away from home. And when I grew up, I became a film director, but I encountered a bottleneck in the shooting of autobiographical films. So I traveled through time and space to have a dialogue with the young me, and finally face my own painful childhood. In the film, his mother is portrayed by him as a nervous control freak, while the protagonist's eye is in the street of sexual awakening. Missing his dead father and infatuated with the young woman next door. I fantasize about running away from home and implode with a young woman all day long. This experience is actually a fiction of me, who became a director 20 years later. I ran away from home, but the young woman did not elope with me. The adult me realizes that memories are always revised and embellished, and that what is told is not what actually happened, but what is hoped to happen. In terms of cinematic language, Shuji Terraomen was influenced by the European avant-garde and left-back, impressionist film and surrealist films. The artistic style of this film has the feeling of European avant-garde films in the 20th of last century, which can basically be judged to be inheritance and imitation of surrealist films and Dadaist art. In his film, there are scenes of real people tearing the screen apart. And Rain Cleaner's 1924 work, Intermission, has a similar sense. These expressions are still within the scope of the meaning of the broad art form. None of the images in the films are found in popular culture, the sex that can be seen everywhere in the circus. A woman who needs to be constantly inflated. Neon-like shooting filters and the various characters' looks in the circus. And the various shapes he created are precisely the visual charm that cannot be ignored to attach audience to watch this movie. Just as his patio theater's company hires the forms of bit marginalized people to stage avant-garde theater. There are almost no normal people in his film. There is always a body of mind charm in a strange whirlpool. Some of their faces were painted pale, some were strange. The world composed of these people forms a subversion of common sense, memory and the main street, and knocks on the audience's comfortable psychology. After the defeat of Japan in World War II, Japan's social structure was in a period of transition. Economic development was difficult, moral binding force was reduced. The young generation of Japan fell into a confused mood. With the unspeakable restlessness of adolescence, young people used the students' movement to find their dissatisfaction at that time, and were eager to establish a new cultural system. His troupe broke the stereotype of the theater industry at that time, produced a large number of avant-garde works, and set off a nation avant-garde theater storm. The film was released in 1974 and entered the 1975 Cannes Film Festival as an exhibitor. After that, his fans increased and he became more and more influential in subculture, becoming a subculture writer and a director who was very popular with Japanese people at that time. The overall artistic style of the Pastoral Festival of the Days has also had a great influence on young people today, such as the use of the same color scheme of the film as some subcultural groups to take photos or make videos. In the film, a man with a child suddenly looks at the camera to introduce himself, claiming to be a singer who is about to become famous, and finally angrily points at the audience and curses loudly. the person in the front row, in these days you will also die. Strictly speaking, Shuji Teruoma's offense to the audience is not only in this straightforward form, but also consistently challenges to audience common sense and concepts, which is his most powerful offense. He asked the teenagers to talk about sex in front of his mother, hoping that his mother will die soon, and think about eloping with the young woman all day long. Shuji Teruoma always stands on the opposite side of the main street in this way, confronting the confusion of growing up and surviving in a way that makes the audience feel panic. With him, there is no absolute authority and absolute rightness. On the surface, he stands on the opposite side of the audience, but in fact, he pulls the audience out of the programmatic thinking and is forced to intervene in the stage of thinking about the problem. In 2013, the 30th anniversary of Shuji Teruoma's death, 2 commemorative T-shirts of Shuji Teruoma were sold at the Japanese store of the major chain, Tower Records, and the photos of Teruoma were enlarged into a promotional poster, and the lyrics written by the Teruoma for the theme song of anime Tomorrow's Show were written in the small vertical letters in the yellow space below. What is there tomorrow and where is tomorrow? With this as a start point, Japan has shared in unprecedented Teruoma favor in various fields. When we were young, we were always obsessed with Shuji Teruoma because of passion, hormones, and rebellions. But the day we grow or grow older, we will naturally leave Teruoma and move on to the next part of the road. The film is very metaphorical and somewhat obscure, but every frame of these films is a visual treat. Shuji Teruoma's brain, unconventional style, and flexible way of thinking are not only a powerful weapon to break the flatness and simplification of modern society, but also an alternative appeal for young people to replay attention to themselves, others, and society. So much so that to this day, he is still able to set off a craze in society. At the end of the film, the director, who is looking for his memories, has dinner with his mother. When the curtain wall falls and the characters are placed on the street of modern Tokyo, and the actors seem to have taken off their mask and wave goodbye to the camera. This actor is not only to say goodbye to the audience, but also to say goodbye to the director, and it also represents the end of the director's self-dissecting genre. The Shuji Teruoma Memorial Museum in Japan is engraved with his haiku. The needle of the clock moves forward to become time, and backward travel as a memory. It just so happens that these have always been Teruoma's favorite scene, and behind his brilliant images, they are a fragment of the Japanese national psyche, and he is wrapped in the part of the growth that he cannot abandon. He is a rare genius in the history of Japanese cinema.